I'm a student at Bridgewater State in Massachusetts. I share a dorm with my roommate, Wallace. We both major in computer science, and that's all we ever talk about on the rare occasion that we actually speak to one another. We don't have much else in the way of common ground. You see, Wallace is an odd guy. He's very socially awkward and doesn't have many friends, if any at all. I've only ever seen him talking to his professors and one time the janitor. It's safe to say that Wallace is a recluse. Because of this, I don't know much about him. I would love for the guy to open up more, but I'm not sure how to go about doing that. Besides, I have enough on my plate as it is between exams and the struggle of day to day finances. As cliche as it might sound, ramen is a popular meal on campus. Another one of Wallace's quirks in his obsessive compulsive nature, he conducts himself in a very specific manner and his daily routine mapped out to a T. It never changes. When he wakes up, he brushes his teeth, making sure to gargle and spit exactly 3 times. He then puts on a striped shirt followed by khaki pants. His wardrobe never changes. He always arrives to class 5 minutes early and turns in his assignment a day before they are due. This is how it's always been. How do I know all of this? Well, being a socially awkward hermit, Wallace didn't tell me these things. I don't think he's even aware that his routine is a byproduct of OCD. I'm not claiming to know exactly what causes Wallace's actions, but I do minor in psychology. It's just something I've picked up during the 2 years I've lived with the guy. It's almost impossible not to notice. Knowing Wallace's usual behavioral patterns, I noticed that something wasn't right. He began sleeping in his clothes, not brushing his teeth, and not passing in his assignments on time. Eventually, he stopped sleeping in our dorm altogether. After over a day of not seeing him, things started looking grim. Despite not knowing Wallace all that well, I became worried. Depression and suicide rates are at an all-time high for our age group. I didn't want the poor guy to do something stupid. That worry justified me hacking into his laptop to see what he'd been up to. It was the only thing I could think to do. And finding his laptop and turning it on, I felt like a fool. The thing was as clean as a whistle, at least in my eyes. You see, though I pride myself in my tech know-how, Wallace is far more adept in the field. It was safe to say that I wouldn't find a shred of evidence as to where he might be or what he's been doing. No journal entries, no browsing history, no nothing. Feeling anxious, I thought about any other potential ways to continue my hunt for the truth. That's when something clicked. Like I said before, I sometimes saw Wallace talking to the janitor in the halls. He was the only person I'd ever seen him speak with at length. It was possible that he would know something about Wallace's state of affairs. Later that night, I exited my dorm and wandered the halls. Eventually, I found Chuck, the janitor. I tried to be gentle when confronting him as he had his back to me and was known to be hard of hearing. Still, when I tapped him on the shoulder, he jumped. Holy cheeseballs, you nearly scared me half to death. Chuck laughed through his bushy gray mustache. What can I do for you, son? I told Chuck about my predicament and how I was concerned for Wallace, having not seen him in a while. Chuck's happy expression transformed into a look of unease and tension. He seemed to know a bit more than I did. Well, here's the thing. Wallace is a good kid, and we do chat from time to time. I happen to know where he might be, but I wouldn't feel comfortable blurting out the detail of his social life to anyone who asked, even if you are his roommate. Social life? Wallace didn't have a social life. I pressured Chuck into letting me in on the secret. I really laid it on thick, expressing a great deal of concern for Wallace's well-being. Being the nice old janitor that Chuck is, he eventually gave in. Okay, I understand. Just please don't tell him that I told you, okay? I nodded, eagerly awaiting for him to reveal Wallace's whereabouts. Wallace had been feeling really down lately. He got no one to talk to but me. The kid wanted some friends, people that he could hang out with and talk to, you know? I listened closely for the detail I so desperately sought for. So, Wallace went on to something he called, the deep web. On there, he found a group of people. They called themselves the Clan of the Red Wolf or something like that. They invited him to one of their meetings. That's probably where he is right now. He seemed pretty excited when he told me about it, and in fact, he'd been talking about it for the past week. There, that was it. That was the bit of info I needed, the key to finding Wallace. I thanked Chuck and gave him the goodnight wave as I ran back to my dorm room. From the sound of it, Wallace got himself involved with another group of people who shared in his interest, and eventually they invited him to hang out in real life. I had their quirky name, the Clan of the Red Wolf, and that's all I needed to find them on the deep web myself. Soon enough, I would be able to find my missing roommate. It took quite a while, but I finally managed to find a deep web forum for training that so-called clan. It contained nothing but had a description and series of videos. Here's the description as it appeared on the site. Welcome to your new belief system. We are the Clan of the Red Wolf and we're here to help. There are 7 educational videos on the site, each tailored to be a specific belief that we want to share with you. You are asked to watch these programs to understand our doctrine. If you make it to the last one, you will be invited to our den. Good luck. The summary was bizarre, but nothing less than what I expected. Scrolling further, I noticed that all of the videos were titled similarly. Day 1, Day 2, and so on. Naturally, I watched them. The whole series reminded me of an old war propaganda. It was made in the style of vintage cartoons starring a wolf as the main focus. Not a normal wolf, but a cartoon caricature version of one. Pictured a character similar to Wile E. Coyote. In each video, the wolf learned a new clan value from the campy, male narrator. Not unlike old cartoons, the wolf comically goes against the narrator's wishes and suffers the consequences before learning his lesson. Every video ends with the narrator saying, "Join the pack, you'll never have to feel alone again." I guess that was the selling point for Lonely Wallace. The contents of the videos was incredibly jarring. I almost couldn't believe that such a cult could actually exist, let alone that Wallace would join them. He must have been really lonely. The last video exited with the same "join the pack" spiel and then faded out to screen with a series of numbers. I assumed this was my invitation into the den, perhaps an encrypted set of coordinates leading to the clan's lair. That, I thought, must have been where Wallace had gone. I wrote down the code and immediately started doing some research to begin cracking it. Just as I was in the thick of things, something hit me. One of the videos stated that you couldn't talk to anyone about the clan under any circumstances. But Wallace talked to Chuck. That didn't make any sense. Wallace was a stickler for rules. Another fact hit me. The video stated that you could only talk about clan activity with other clan members. What if Chuck was one of them? Chuck could be stationed at the college to recruit members, and he simply nudged Wallace in the right direction. He could have been plain dumb with me when I questioned him. So either Chuck was a Klansman or Wallace broke a cardinal rule. Neither theory held much water. If Chuck was a member, then why would he have told me anything without either recruiting or killing me? And if Wallace was so eager to be accepted in a strict cult, then why would he disobey their wishes? I couldn't make much sense of either angle. I eventually gave in to the notion that perhaps Wallace simply disregarded the rules in lieu of his excitement. He was finally going to have friends, so he had to tell someone. This didn't completely sit well with me, but I had to get back to cracking the code. I didn't have time to dwell on uncertainties. Just then, there was a knock at my dorm room door, followed by a voice. "It's Chuck, the janitor. I'm here to tidy up your room." Chuck never cleaned dorm rooms. That wasn't part of his job. "I'm all set," I yelled, hoping he would leave me be. The knocking ceased. There was a long stretch of silence followed by a soft metallic creak. The doorknob was turning.